What is up, everybody? Seems like we've been gone for quite a while, at least all three of us together, that's for sure. Welcome to the ATL Sports HQ live show, the show for the fans, by the fans. This is episode 24. My name is Bob Lancaster. You can find me on all social media at Bowling Bob.
I'm Phil Beasley. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at _ATL Phil.
I'm Derek Clemens. You can follow me on Twitter at Derek Clemens.
You can follow the site at atlsportshq.com and ATL Sports HQ on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Also, the show can be found on all major podcast sites, including iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. So you go on any of those outlets to watch us. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating so we can continue to bring you this awesome podcast. And if you're interested in writing for the site, we are actively recruiting. So just shoot over a message to Phil on Twitter at _ATL Phil or me at Bowling Bob, and we will get you started. We're definitely looking for some Georgia people, especially some United people, and then also kind of be interested in some Atlanta Dream coverage. If you'd be interested in covering the Dream as well, we would definitely appreciate that. So let's get right into it. First topic today is going to be the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL draft. Since we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week, we'll jump into that. Atlanta drafted guard Chris Lindstrom from Boston College, right tackle Caleb McGarry from University of Washington in the first round. Second and third round, they didn't have picks. And then on the weekend, they drafted cornerback Kendall Sheffield from Ohio State, defensive end John Kaminsky from Charleston, running back Kadri Allison from Pittsburgh, cornerback Jordan Miller from University of Washington, and running back Marcus Green from Louisiana Monroe. I'll start with you, Phil. Were you surprised the Falcons went with Chris Lindstrom at 41 and McGarry at 31?
I think they drafted to their needs. They did what they needed to do. You know, they weren't exactly the big names or the names people wanted, or like, you know, the high profile positions. But hey, where did we struggle last year? You know, we need to get this offense going. We need to protect Matt Ryan. So I think we did what we needed to do. I didn't have a problem with the picks. I know the beat writer in particular had some I guess you could call them off the wall things to say, but hey, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good draft.
Yeah, what'd you think? Were you surprised with the Falcons at Chris Lindstrom at 14 and McGarry at 31?
I was surprised, but I'm not mad about it. I mean, you're paying Matt Ryan all that money, so you better protect him. I mean, we've seen him on his butt a lot last season, and I mean, it cost us the offense. And I mean, offenses are most important thing. I mean, we have all the weapons on that end, so you got to protect your quarterback. And I mean, they were banking on Matt Ryan to be a quarterback for hopefully 6-7 years going forward or whatever. So you got to protect him. So I mean, the picks are fine, but.
I wasn't necessarily surprised with who they went with. My shock was I kind of thought that Chris Lindstrom could have been had if you would have traded down in the draft and maybe grabbed a pick in the second or third round since you didn't have any then. And then, you know, then to trade up to get McGarry at 31, you know, both are quality players. I got to see a lot of Caleb McGarry, you know, being a University of Washington guy. And my concern with him is that they didn't really play, you know, top elite, you know, schools for him to get really tested. And then the running game and the quarterback play last year for Washington was not very good. So, you know, and he's supposed to be, you know, at the right tackle position, the main guy, you know, and those were positions that struggled last year. So I know that, you know, Coach Q, you know, obviously has the relationship with Washington, you know, having coached in Seattle. So he's, you know, he definitely keeps an eye on UW guys, which, you know, with them drafting 2 guys from UW, that's not that big of a surprise. So, but yeah, I wasn't surprised, and I'm like you. I'm not necessarily disappointed with who they drafted. I mean, Lindstrom was probably the best guard in the draft, just not one of those, you know, sexy names, I guess you could say. You know, coming, you know, not from the biggest of schools with Boston College. So, but he's a big dude, and he's gonna, you know, he'll be in at the beginning, and you know, which tasked with guarding, helping Matt Ryan have such a good season. So yeah, I'm not disappointed at all, but I just, kind of was a little concerned with them not drafting at the defensive line, which is what we're going to get into next. They didn't really address the defensive line at all. What can we expect them to do to address the rest of their needs with little salary to work with? I'll throw that to you, Derek.
It's gonna be. I mean, there's really nothing left. I mean, I guess you look. I can't remember. Did we sign a defensive end after the draft?
We may have gotten an undrafted free agent. I didn't include those in. But what are the odds that's someone that's going to be an impact player at all?
Just about to say, I mean, odds are very slim that even happens. But I mean, I can't really think of anyone that's still available that we would be able to pay for. So I mean, I guess we're still leaning on Vic Beasley to bring that pass rush, which is scary going into the season after that year he had last season.
Phil, are you concerned they didn't address this defensive line, and anything we can expect them to do to maybe address that issue?
Yeah, I was a little concerned. Like Derek said, I don't think there's really anybody out there left in the free agency market. They're gonna have to hope that maybe they can get someone from the undrafted. But what is the likelihood of that player being able to come in and make an actual impact? But I don't know. They're gonna have to maybe look at trade, or he might not be in a good predicament this year.
Yeah, the name that came in this week is a guy that I cannot stand, and I hope that's not the answer. Is Ndamukong Suh. I call him the king of the 15-yarder. He's good for a great play, and then he'll do something stupid that costs you 15 yards every single time. But hey, if Coach Q loves those guys that cost him 15 yards, it seems like we always have one or two guys a year that cost us a 15-yard, either unnecessary roughness or something like that. That pass interference, those guys that cost us 15-yard play. So, but I know that he's probably a bigger name available. I know that Jadeveon Clowney has been shopped around by Texas, but by the Houston Texans. So that could be a name, but you'd have to put together salary because he is already franchised. So you'd have to put together quite a package of salary going to Houston. And that would probably cost you one of the top rookies that you just got. So I don't see that happening.
What would be Houston's motivation to do that? Because I'm expecting them to have a good year with Deshaun Watson,
Well, the issue is just again, he's franchised. So, they obviously don't feel that he should be worthy of being a top 4 paid at his position. So, it's just an issue of, trading him to someone that might value him more than they do. I'm guessing that's the only thing I think of. He's had his injury concerns too. So they may not feel like, extending him, but they're just hoping, by offering him the franchise that they can package him somewhere. I wouldn't mind having him here. I think that he would be a great for pass rush. It's always been his strong suit, but, again, health with him has always been an issue. So, I wouldn't mind it, but I don't know if for the price, if it would be worth bringing him in here. But really, when you don't have any big names, I mean, I floated around, a rumor a couple weeks ago, that was just in my mind as a rumor I thought of was packaging Devonta Freeman and some kind of package to Houston to get him. But I didn't realize how little Devonta Freeman really gets paid per year. So it wouldn't even really work that great. So like I said, that's just a far-fetched thing. But again, has been made available. But Derek put it good. There's just not a lot of names anymore. You're going to bank on what you're putting out from last year with no depth. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But
it seems like they're just relying heavily on offense and then just trying to work with whatever we have on defense. And if they step up, they step up.
Mm-hmm.
Relying on how many points we can score.
Well, again, when the draft got over and I see who they get, and I'm like, well, guess you're hoping for Matt Ryan to put up 28 points a game again this year, because the defense is going to give up 21 a game. So if the offense doesn't click again this year, we're headed right back to the same type of record. I mean, I haven't seen that much improvement, to be honest with you. And last year, I was the closest at saying 9-7. So, and I just don't think, I haven't seen enough improvement to think that they're going to be the upper echelon, of this division. So, but Phil, not including Lindstrom and McGarry, do you have anybody in mind you think could be a potential impact sleeper of the group?
I really think a lot of those were just depth picks, and I don't see many of them making an impact anytime soon. And if they do have to be thrust in there, it's not a good sign.
What you think, Derek? Anybody standing out to you?
I mean, not just because of his ability. I mean, I know a little bit about him, but Kendall Sheffield, the cornerback, I mean, we need a cornerback to step up, because, I mean, we're relying on Oliver, and because we let Alfred go. So, I mean, we need someone to step up. And, I mean, he's a pretty quick cornerback and keep up with a lot of guys. But his ball skills, I just don't think they're at the NFL level right now. So I don't think he'll make an immediate impact.
Yeah, not including those two picks. I thought the two best picks were Kendall Sheffield for sure, and then Jordan Miller also, because again, cornerback was a position they had to shore up. These guys have to make an impact, because they didn't address that position whatsoever. So, and Jordan Miller is a fantastic cornerback on a team. Yeah, on a team that generally produces great cornerbacks. I mean, you look at Trufant. Both Trufant brothers came out of UW. They're both, we're both good. So, but yeah, I really like both those. But my sexy pick is Kadri Allison from Pittsburgh. That dude can run. I mean, he has a legit shot at giving what's his face? The starting running back. We're just talking about, my mind is blank. It just does that sometimes. So, but giving him a run for his money and possibly pushing out Ito Smith. But the other thing that I like about Kadri Allison is it now gives you a kick and punt return option. I think he's going to take that special teams role as the returner. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the first thing. But even if he turns out to be good, you can move Ito to a kick and punt returner as well. So you can never have too much depth, especially at running back. I'm not sure Marcus Green will make the team. I watched him a little bit, and he's a good running back, but I just think with the three guys in front, including Kadri Allison, is that he will have a tough time making the team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the practice squad. So now getting into the draft in general, who do you think, Derek, was the biggest shock of the draft? The Raiders selecting Clelin Ferrell 4th, or the Giants taking Daniel Jones at 6th?
Oh, there's no doubt Daniel Jones. I mean, yeah, the Ferrell pick was a reach. I mean, you could have got him later in the draft with all the picks that you had. So that didn't make sense to me. But the Daniel Jones thing, I mean, come on.
He kind of came from nowhere, didn't he? I mean,
okay. I mean, I guess it's college, and the numbers doesn't always mean a lot. But I mean, he produced. What did he do? Did he play all 4 years?
Either three or 4. Yeah.
So I mean, Deshaun Haskins, but Haskins put up like the numbers that he put up in his whole career, like 50 touchdowns in one season, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So I mean, but you can just tell from his talent. I mean, he's not an NFL quarterback, and if he is, it will never be a starter. So I don't understand. I guess they liked the Manning thing that they were talking about all through the draft and how he worked with them or whatever, and they reminded him of him. But I mean, I just don't see it from him. I don't ever think we'll really see him do anything in the NFL. So I mean, that pick was just a weird one.
Phil, what you think, man? What was the biggest shock, Clelin Ferrell or Daniel Jones?
I gotta go Jones. I don't know what they were thinking. Didn't they had like another pick or something coming up?
Mm-hmm.
everybody thought they could have got him there. I mean, of course, they did damage control the next day, and said, well, someone would have got him. I don't know. I don't think so. And they put a lot of pressure on that young man coming into that New York media. That New York media is ready like vultures.
Do you think the New York market is excited about a guy coming in that's supposedly supposed to be a carbon copy of Eli Manning, who you just really kind of are fed up with at this point to begin with?
Eli Manning, he's lucked into 2 Super Bowls pretty much. So I mean, hey, I would take that if I'm a Giants fan. But outside of those 2 Super Bowl runs, what really has he done?
The crazy thing is, I mean, this has just made it easier for them not to move on from Manning, which would suck as a fan. I mean, the organization just want to keep him there, and I mean, this is a pick that shows it pretty much.
Yeah, for me it was okay. So clearly you didn't want Dwayne Haskins, and so you wanted a more of a pocket passer, quarterback, elite guy, but Daniel Jones wasn't even the best of that type. I mean, Drew Lock is more of a pocket passer, game ready style quarterback. And then, and I thought, okay, so in their minds, they think that other teams wanted Daniel Jones. Well, those teams, you watch Drew Lock fall into the second day. And so then, that's what made me realize, well, obviously, Daniel Jones wasn't, what would have been able to fall to them if Drew Lock wasn't even drafted in the first day. But, I mean, I talked about how, I went to the Duke Georgia Tech game. I covered that game, and I saw Daniel Jones play, and I think he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. He's not ready yet. I mean, this is actually, I think, is a decent situation. You still probably got 2 years of Eli Manning left. But my thing with the Giants is you made a pretty high pick last year in Kyle Lauletta. So, did you not have any faith in Kyle Lauletta that you now go get Daniel Jones and the number 6 pick, who's now expected to be the savior? I mean, coming off Eli Manning. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. That was a big surprise to me. The Raiders, I kind of expected to do something stupid. So, but it was the same thing with the Raiders as the Giants. Cleveland Farrell could have been had at their second pick, but the Raiders always just do something dumb. So I just knew something was going to happen like that. So I really didn't expect it. I thought the Giants would have taken Drew Lock. I knew they were going quarterback. So, but that one just kind of blew me out of the way. So, but going local with the draft, Elijah Holyfield didn't get his name called at the draft. Last time we were on with the three of us, we talked a little bit about him having a poor combine and whether we thought that would affect him in the draft. And we all three were kind of like, no, he has enough game footage and stuff like that it won't affect him. But he didn't go drafted at all. He eventually signed as an undrafted free agent with the Carolina Panthers. Derek, do you think he should have stayed back for another year at Georgia?
You can just, he's not an NFL running back yet. And he had that one big year of experience. I mean, he didn't have a lot of playing time the year before, and he finally got majority of a lot of the reps last season. So you got to see a lot of what he can do. And I mean, I think he'll be okay in NFL as a backup running back, maybe on third downs and stuff, and can give the Panthers some help, maybe in a few years if he's still there. But if he even actually makes a team, but I just don't think he was ready to go to the draft. He wasn't like a name that just pops up and like, oh, we got to have him. So,
what did you think, Phil?
Yeah, he should have stayed. I don't understand. I don't know who was in his ears, but I don't know at what point he could have changed his mind, or if at any point. I don't know how football works. I know in the NBA you change your mind up until like the end of May if you declare. I don't know if you can do that in football, but he should have really evaluated this. He should have came back another year, made it to the playoff again, and hopefully, showed something more, had a better combine, and he would be on his way to a millionaire. Now he's going to be fighting for a fringe roster spot, probably a practice squad spot, and I don't know. Hopefully, one day he can get his career together. And, I mean,
Yeah.
he'll have money, so.
I mean, he has every right to declare that he wants to go pro, but I think as soon as the combine happened, knowing that if you come back to UGA next year, you're more than likely the number one option at running back, so you're going to see a bulk of the carries, and so whoever was directing his career kind of led him astray, I think. So I know that coming near the last day, his dad was trying to push Falcons to draft, and to draft him. And, the Falcons just, even taking running back with their last pick still didn't take him. So, I kind of think it was concerning for him that he, didn't get called. I mean, again, it just surprises me with, the knowing that, like I said, he probably would have been the number one option for them this year. I was just dumb decision. Again, if I were him, and I would be getting rid of his agent for whoever was telling him what to do. So, but poor judgment by him, and now he's going to have to scratch and claw his way to have any chance in the NFL. So we'll definitely be watching him, and hopefully we don't see too much of him when Carolina's here. So. But because, of course, that'll come back to bite us. That's just the Falcon way. So, all right, let's talk about the NBA and the NBA playoffs, second round action underway. Golden State versus Houston. Golden State is up 2-1 in the series. Phil, what are your thoughts on the series so far and your prediction for the series?
Yeah, that's been a great series so far. I know Golden State is a few seconds away from being up 3-0, but man, Houston has played very hard. I wish they could have got game one. They shouldn't have let game one get away from them. We could be looking at a serious series right now. I still think Golden State gets it done in 6. I don't think Houston can get it to 7. But man, James Harden and KD, they are lighting it all the way up. I can't wait to see KD back on a regular team to see what he can really do.
It's been good when people don't refer to a series as like Golden State versus Houston. They refer to it as, it's KD versus versus the Beard. And that's always cool. The two guys are rolling when it is. So, what are your thoughts on the series so far and your prediction, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to watch. I agree with Bill. I think Warriors are going to go ahead and take it in 6. I think the Rockets will find a way to win one more, maybe their last home game. But I mean, I think in reality they had a chance. They had a chance to be up in this series. I mean, Curry has been awful. He's shooting like 25% from the 3-point line in this series. I mean, obviously KD's lining it up, but it can't just be him playing well. I mean, Klay's been okay. Draymond's actually stepped up a lot. But Harden's shooting percentages have kind of been bad. That's the only thing, but he's still producing at a high level. So I think if he wasn't shooting so bad, I think they could be up like that.
Yeah, I think it'll go 6 as well. I'm agreeing with the two of you. Again, like I said, it's Kevin Durant, versus James Harden. I mean, and that's whoever steps it up more, is that team's going to win. The thing about it is just Golden State, just up and down. I honestly think that even if KD wasn't playing that well, someone else would be there to step up and handle that. I thought going into the second round that this would probably be the best matchup. And I think the games have been great, but it just shows just how good Golden State is, well-rounded and everything, and so I just can't see, Houston holding up against them. So Houston's to me is still just, I don't know, one more guy away. I've always been that I don't think Chris Paul is that guy. So I'm not a big Chris Paul fan, I guess. So, But I think they just need one more guy. I'm not sure who that guy is, but
Crazy it is though. They should have beaten Golden State last year.
yeah. All right, let's get into Milwaukee versus Boston. Milwaukee is up 2-1, right, Phil? 2-1. Okay, and what are your thoughts on the series so far and prediction?
Coming in, I had Milwaukee in no more than 6. Then Boston came around and looked as good as ever in game 1, and people overreacted. But I still have Milwaukee in 6, and to this day, I still have Milwaukee in 6. I do think Boston wins tomorrow or Tuesday, whenever they do play. But I just think Giannis and the rest of the Bucks, they're just too locked in. Like I said after game 1, when you're a heavy favorite, but it's like your first time being a heavy favorite in a new series, you usually lose. You see that a lot. You see them lose game 1 at home like that, and then they come back. So I just something is not right with Boston. It hasn't been right all season. They show you what they can do that one game, and then you don't see it again. So I don't know. I think Kyrie's good as gone too. Everyone has hyped up Jason Tatum way too much, way too early. Horford has been good. He's been Horford, but he's Horford. He's not a star. So they got a lot to work on this summer. It's going to be interesting. Horford can opt out. Irving is gone. Of course, they'll probably get lucky and end up with, I believe, Sacramento pick with some conditions if something happens, or maybe Memphis pick them. Somehow they're involved in the lottery again. So I'm sure they'll get lucky. But it's going to be interesting summer up there in Boston.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thoughts and prediction, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, like Phil said, if the series has been pretty good, but I think Kyrie is going to be enough to take them to 7, but I still think the Bucks will find a way to come out on top. But I think just the Celtics experience, but like you said, the inconsistent play. I mean, they've been inconsistent all year, and I mean, even throughout the playoffs. I mean, they had spurts against the Pacers where they stopped playing well and then they couldn't score. But I mean, they obviously still ran through them easily because the Pacers didn't have someone to step up. But Giannis, I mean, he's just too much. And when it comes to 7, I think he'll just take over and find a way to get over the hump.
Yeah, I think this one's going to go 6 as well. Man, every game, it just seems like, Giannis just has that mega star ability. He takes over games and just becomes straight unstoppable. I said on the radio show tonight, I said, there is not too many people that live up to their nicknames, but man, Greek Freak just really describes him in every single way. He's just, again, he's a budding superstar. And one thing about it is Coach Bud just knows how to utilize his strengths and work the ball to him. And you guys both said about Boston's inconsistency. That's the thing. They just have never put together that elite perfect game at all this year. I mean, it seems like you start to see a flash of what they can bring to the table, and then the very next game it's just inconsistencies again and them not looking like they've been together 3 weeks, not an entire year. So
One thing
I don't know, man. It to me, I honestly want to say Kyrie, but I really honestly think that the Gordon Hayward injury changed everything for that team. He's never looked the same. I mean, when he came out of Utah, I thought, oh man, he's got star written all over him. I mean, he was just a fantastic player. And I mean, no fault of his own. That's a gruesome injury to have to come back from. But, he looks a step slower. His shot just has never recovered. And so I think that may have a lot to do with it, but I just don't buy Kyrie as a leader. I buy Kyrie as a guy that paired with a leader could win multiple championships, but he just can't. I don't know. He's just never, to me, been able to be that top guy. So now I think he realizes, we said this before, I think he realizes now how important having LeBron was to him and, and his ability to win rings.
Yeah, but also I forgot to mention Marcus Smart may come back tomorrow, so that will be a huge help for Boston.
Yeah, I still don't think they're winning. So the third series, which has been a lot of fun, Portland and Denver. Portland is up 2-1. Derek, we'll start with you this time. What are your thoughts on the series so far and prediction?
I mean, it's been great, especially the last game. And I had a game on the TV right now. It's going down to the wire, 109 to 104 with a minute left. But, I mean, that series has been fun to watch. What did they go to, 4 overtimes? I mean,
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was great to watch. I mean, just seeing them go at it and everything that happens, Lillard and McCollum hitting all those big shots. And then you got Jokic stepping up and making plays. And, I mean, this is a battle, and it's two teams that you really wouldn't – I mean, yeah, the Nuggets were the second seed, but, like, people counted them out because of their inexperience and stuff. And then the Blazers were also counted out in their series by a lot of people. So, I mean, it's just good to see these two teams playing at a very high level consistently throughout the playoff.
Well, I mean, this is an important series. This is to see who gets the rights to get swept by Golden State. So, yeah.
I think if the Blazers win, they might be able to sneak 1, maybe 2 games.
I'm telling you what, if Dame and CJ McCollum,
it's like 50, but I think that'll be the only game they win.
If Dame and McCollum can play like they've been playing together, again, you roll 2 hot players at a time in the playoffs, and you can go far. I mean, I've seen it before. A hot team coming in. No one thought they were going to win that first series against Oklahoma City. They looked great, and so now again, you're riding the high of taking down teams that you're not expected to be beating. So
I mean,
that's important.
Their defensive Aminu and Harkless. I mean, they step up big. And then, I mean, they have Canner, which he's bad on defense, but the Warriors don't have anyone that's going to kill you down low. It's going to be all perimeter. So, I mean, they match up, I guess, well. But, I mean, 2 games is pushing it. I think they'll at least get 1 if they win this series.
So, what do you think? What are you taking prediction for this series?
I think I'm going to take the Blazers in 7.
All right, Phil, what are your thoughts?
I think I said Portland earlier. I want to go Denver in 7 now.
Yeah. I mean, you got any thoughts on the series?
Man, it's been a great series. It's honestly a toss-up. What a treat this series has been. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a great series. I think it's running up there with one of my favorite second round series. What was the score? Who's leading? I am not paying attention to it right
now. This thing would load, or do you got it?
Yeah, I got it. Denver has a ball with 40 seconds left. They're up 3.
They're up 3.
Yeah.
All right, so you could be looking at possible 2-2 here. I think it's going to go 7. I think Denver is going to win though. But again, it's been one of my favorite series. I've been trying to catch up because obviously they've been the later games. So so I've been trying to catch up as I wake up in the next morning to see. And but I like I said, if McCollum and can keep doing what he's doing, and we know what Dame can do. So they could go as far as those 2 want to take them, but. Again, Cantor's kind of been a non-issue, so a non-factor. So, they're only going to go as far as those 2 can take them. So, but I just don't think it'll be enough to take on Denver. But again, I don't think it matters because I just think they're fighting for the right to who gets whooped by Golden State anyway. So,
one of them guys have a chance to make a big shot right here. They got the ball down 3 with 26 seconds left.
All right. We'll keep you updated on that as we go along here. Philadelphia versus Toronto. Phil, thoughts and prediction.
Yeah. Toronto going to sweep. And remember that? Now we got ourselves a 2-2 series.
Yeah, it's close to a sweep, right? Yeah.
This one's definitely going 7. I don't know who outside of Kawhi can we trust, but then Philadelphia, who outside of the big three can even besides Redick too. Well, I mean, who on the bench can give you more than 2 points on Philadelphia? I think as a whole they had 11 bench points today. Embiid was awful. He can't stay healthy. 1 minute is his back, then he's sick, thrown up or whatever. I don't know. Philadelphia is kind of a mess to me, but Toronto is a mess too. You have Kawhi, and Lowry's been crap in the bed. Siakam's banged up. Their bench is no good. Jeremy Lin can't even get on the court when Lowry's playing as bad as he is. I don't understand.
There is 2 Kyle Lowrys. There's regular season Kyle Lowry, and then there's playoff Kyle Lowry. So, and playoff Kyle Lowry is in full effect this playoff. So
even this year, he averaged 14 and 8 this year. That's it. So
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. He just seems to be worse every time I see him in the playoffs. So, all right, what you think, Derek, on this series?
What I've gained from this series is Kawhi Leonard is a killer. He's just a killer on both ends of the ball. I mean, people talk just because he's not flashy, they always downgrade his offensive game. He's showed it this whole year, but this series, he's just getting buckets at an efficient rate, threes, mid range. It's ridiculous, and it's fun to watch him do what he's been doing. But like y'all both said, there's just no help. Kyle Lowry, he's out here eating cookies, going to insomnia after losing a game, after he just put on weight. This offseason, put on weight has been terrible all year. In my opinion, he's overrated, has been for a while. But Siakam, he got hurt, but he still played today, but he wasn't really that big. But he's played well in the first games. He played well. So it's really just Kawhi against the world. I do think Kawhi will find a way to get by in this series. The Sixers are just a weird team. They have all those names, but it doesn't fit well together. So, and then like Embiid, he's sick and stuff. So I think the Raptors will win. I guess 7. I guess it would have to be, I guess they'll win at 7.
Kawhi took a lot of heat for last year. And he lost a lot of respect from a lot of fans. Boy, did he gain some of that back today. Fantastic. He's just been great. Toronto, we talk about, a good duo. Toronto is one of those teams where if they didn't have Kawhi, would be buried. He showed how important he is to that team. He's just been excellent. We talked about Boston with inconsistency. The only team I think is more inconsistent than Boston is Philadelphia. So I just talk about a team that one day can play together. The next day doesn't even look like they've ever played with each other is Philadelphia all the way. And so that's why I think Toronto can take them in 6 or 7. So I definitely like Toronto in this one. That's probably gonna be a good series. But yeah, definitely not a sweep like some people that work for ATL Sports HQ like to think. I'm not saying any names, Tushar Patel.
What kind of back?
Derek, team so far in the playoffs that has surprised you the most?
I'm gonna have to go with the Blazers. After their little streak of not even winning a game in the playoffs, they got swept last year, and I forget what happened the year before.
They didn't win. That's the answer.
Yeah, that's why I thought they got swept too. I didn't want to make up something, but just seeing them play well together without Nurkic, I thought it would take a big hit on them not having him, but they've stepped up. Damian Lillard stepped up big. CJ McCollum, I've been very impressed with his play in the playoffs. And they've been fun to watch too. It's not just good basketball, it's just straight good basketball from them. So
It's been really, really good for Damon McCollum because of where they play. They don't get any kind of respect being that they're playing it on the East Coast 10:30 games, So, and this playoffs has been more about getting their names out there, especially McCollum. I mean, he's very underrated there. So it's good to see him getting his name out in the press and stuff. So, well, what team has surprised you the most, Phil?
Yeah, I got to go Portland as well. After that disaster last year where they got swept by New Orleans, I really thought, this could have been the beginning of the end for that team. They could have panicked and really just blown it up last offseason, but no, they stuck with it. They won 54 games. Yet again, nobody talked about them at all this regular season, and they won 54 games in the West. That's not easy to do. And, they constantly do it year after year. They had the hiccup last year, but this isn't the first time they've made it out the first round on this little stretch they've had. So they deserve a lot more respect than they've gotten.
I'm gonna sweep it. It's gonna be the Blazers. I mean, one thing is that Terry Stotts has done a very, very underratedly good job coaching that team. He's gotten them to buy into defense, and so that kind of pushed them. I honestly thought they had no chance against Oklahoma City. So just getting past that first series, everything else is bonus. So. But yeah, I definitely agree with you too. I don't think, with even having a chance to win this series, it's just like, again, they're riding a very hot streak right now. And so they're a team I just wouldn't want to play in the playoffs. Again, at no chance next round, none, but still it's fun that, I think that matchup wise, they may match up better with Golden State than Denver. So, it's going to be interesting. I mean, again, I've always said that I hate to play teams that have nothing to lose. So, because those are the teams that scare me the most. So, all right, let's get into some Atlanta United chat. After a very uninspiring victory over Colorado, is it time to panic about the direction of this team, Phil?
Not at all. Colorado was just there to be there. They weren't very interested in playing football that afternoon. It didn't seem like they just sat on the ball. We really couldn't get anything going. We were stuck in the mud. We finally got the goal in the 75th minute. And then Colorado promptly fired their manager after. So it couldn't have been that bad on our part. For as sideways as this season has gone so far, we're only 4 points out of the last playoff spot, and we've also played 2 less games than that team, which would be the Orlando City Soccer Club. So we have about 7 games over the course of the rest of this month. So hey, if we're gonna make a move, it's gonna come, and it's gonna come fast. I mean, if we play good football, we'll be up there with DC United by the end of the month. And knocking on first place. We're only 9. Well, I don't know if DC won today. It looks like they did. So we're only 12 points out of first place.
You and I, we were watching that first half of the Colorado match and together, and we were talking on Twitter to each other about that may have been single-handedly the worst half of soccer we have ever seen. It was boring. I mean, it literally was just.
They were playing bad. It was just like both teams are out there just doing a passing drill. So
I've obviously been the most vocal how I do not like Frank de Boer, and I think he's a horrible choice to manage this team. So, and that's not changing. I just glanced and I see that no one scored in 15 minutes of Sporting KC. What's
There's
that?
been more excitement in this 15 minutes than we had all of last week. So they look decent so far.
Yeah. What do you want to see United do in their matchup with Sporting KC tonight?
I would be very happy with a tie. Sporting KC is a team who's basically struggling like us. They're expected to be one of the better teams. They had a pretty deep CONCACAF run, so they also have really kind of struggled out of the gates. So coming out of there with a tie, I'd be pretty happy. I'm more I'm more interested to see what we have Wednesday night back at home against Toronto, which has actually played much better this year, better than I expected. I didn't think they were going to recover from last year's disaster. There was a lot of, it seemed like, infighting, a lot of drama through the offseason. So I wasn't expecting much for Toronto, but they played rather well so far. So that should be an interesting matchup Wednesday night. We have a lot of games coming up this month. We're back to busy.
Well, you know what I'm going to say, but are you still on board with Frank DeBoer?
I mean, you know, I can't hit the panic button, not even a third way into the first season. Let's say if we just totally fall flat and don't make the playoffs this year, then a change definitely has to be made this winter. But with as fast as the MLS season comes this year, it wouldn't be any good to can him mid-season no matter what. So I just gotta ride this out.
I literally feel like he watches tape of another team and then utilizes that for his play calling, because it just seems to me that the things he does don't give any benefit to the talent and the athleticism that the United have. It just, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't understand his calls sometimes. I don't understand his substitutions whatsoever. So I think he's made poor substitutions. So, but again, now, I could put it all on him, but it's not like our guys have really stepped it up. I mean, Petey Martinez, hasn't been the greatest addition. So, it's hard. Again, I've said this a few times too, is that's hard to believe that, we would miss Miggy Almonte as much as we have. Miggy.
What's his last name?
What was it? What did I say? Almonte?
Yeah.
My bad. Anyways. You knew who I was talking about. So, yeah. But it's hard to believe that, again, that the change has been, that we would miss him as much as we have.
Yeah. And I told everybody coming in, it was going to take some time. I saw this kind of start coming. Mm-hmm. I thought we'd be scoring a few more goals, but, and Frank has trotted out some decent lineups. Like, he's trying the right things. It's just we're not playing the right style. Like, we're running some decent formations and some decent lineups out there. So we gotta score. We gotta put the ball in the back of the net. At least we're not giving up a lot of goals. I mean, it's not all bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the Braves. Max Fried 4-1 with a 2.11 ERA. Mike Soroka 3-1 with a 1.14 ERA. Derek, are we finally starting to see the benefits of these young arms we've been stashing for a few years now?
I've seen what's the first dude's name?
Max Fried.
I saw him play. What didn't he do something today?
Yeah, him running the bases that essentially won us the game.
He took off.
Out by 20 feet, and he still found a way to score.
But I mean, I'm not big on the Braves. I haven't really watched a lot, but I've seen some stuff, and I've kept up with stuff that we do and stuff. But I mean, pitching has been a problem, but it's not really been the starters, if I'm correct. Yeah. It's been the relievers. So I mean, I guess
you think it's nice that, for a team that's rebuilding, that finally we start to see results. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's NBA, NFL. When your team's rebuilding, it's nice to finally start seeing some results for everything you've been preaching, especially when, we pretty much got all but a couple of our offensive guys are already in the big leagues. So now it's, now it's time for the arms that we've been preaching about and building upon for all these years to finally see numbers from them,
It looks like it's coming together, like you said, on both ends. I mean, you have the batters already, the people that have showed up big in their early careers, and then now you see this. So it's definitely good for them.
I'm definitely excited. I mean, being as big a Brave fan as I am, Max Fried kind of came out of nowhere for me. He didn't project as high as some of our other younger arms in, but he's a really, really good left-handed pitcher. utilizes both sides of the plate, which I really like, has great control, doesn't walk very many guys. And then on the opposite side of that, Mike Soroka, who is, was supposed to be the guy for us, ran into some shoulder problems last year, but pinpoint control this year, throws a nasty slider to go along with a 90, 95 plus fastball. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited for those two, but what do you think, Phil? Are we finally starting to see those benefits now?
Definitely, and that's what keeps this season going, because there's been some rough losses that really should not have happened. This team has way too much talent to be hanging around 500, but we all know what the problem is. So we don't even need to talk about the problem, because we all know what it is. But
honestly, though, in the last 2 weeks, that problem hasn't necessarily been that bad of a problem. I mean, we're starting to see some roles set. We'll get to that. We got a question coming in about that here in a couple of questions. So, but Phil, who has been the most surprising player you have seen on the Braves team this year?
With Always, he's really taken his game to another level. He kind of struggled, especially in the second half of last year. He's been on it. He's been a really reliable hitter so far this year. I really like what I'm seeing. And then, of course, that young pitching duo, man, they're going to be a killer.
Yeah, for me, most surprising player is definitely Luke Jackson. I mean, I was ready after his first appearance to DFA him so quickly that I never wanted to see him on this team ever again. And now he's the closer of this team. I mean, and he has been excellent. Ever since the first appearance, I think he's under a 1.5 ERA since that appearance. And he has been great. I like your answer of Ozzy Albies. He's been given the leadoff spot now. And he was at the beginning of the year, he was kind of mixing it up with Ender and Ciarte, but now Ciarte has moved full down to the 8 role. So I really like Ozzy Albies. I think that Dansby has been greatly improved as well. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see it. And, those guys that we're naming, they're young guys too. So that's what you want to see out of young guys is just consistent improvement. One thing that kind of went under or not really noticed that much, Rick Kranitz, he had to step away for a personal issue and was supposed to be gone like a week, ended up gone like a month. He's been back now for almost a week, maybe 2 weeks. And it seems like the pitching has been much better since he's been back. And I know he is really, really good and is known for his work with younger pitchers. Last year with Aaron Nola in Philadelphia, he turned Aaron Nola into, a Cy Young caliber style pitcher. Now Nola this year without him is struggling mightily. So, but yeah, so those are, there's a lot of improvement on this team. So, but those are the ones I saw. But Derek, do you want to answer this one? You got anything in mind?
I can't assist y'all on that one.
Yeah.
It would probably be incorrect information. I don't want to give out incorrect information.
Well, I asked you in chat, but you didn't want to answer me, so I had to ask you.
I didn't.
Phil, with no true closer for the Braves, they continue utilizing the hot hand closer strategy they have been using?
Yeah, closer by committee. That's just, yeah, I don't want to bring up that name, but I don't think it's going to happen. So just, hey, whoever has the hot hand, get it done. Fake it till you make it. Hopefully in July, maybe a team that's thought they were going to be good, but isn't good, maybe they'll give us somebody. We have all these young people. I hate when people are like, oh, but we don't want to give up any of the young talent. If you're going to win championships, eventually you got to decide, okay, which one is worth moving so we can get ahead.
Well, it seems like they're finally doing the right thing, which is like you said, the go with the closer by committee, hot hand. Luke Jackson right now, obviously killing it, so he's going to get that role. But Jacob Webb, he closed in Gwinnett. He has closing experience. He actually closed the game the other day, and did a fantastic job. They they did a fake injury deal with Jesse Biddle to maybe get his head straight and work him out, because we desperately need him. I mean, a good left-handed situational reliever, which we struggled with mightily this year. In fact, we had just made a trade for Jerry Blevins just to fulfill that role. And he's come in and done a fantastic job of facing that one or two batters that he needs to face as a left-hander to get him out, leading into the next guy in the bullpen. But like I said, the last 2 weeks since Dave kind of went with this role, the bullpen's kind of stepped it up. But, with the guy who we will not mention, the thing is the longer this goes on, we have just as much chance of getting him in June as anybody else does. No one else is making that bid to go out and get him and lose that draft pick that you're going to lose. So, if it continues on into June, and that's still something that we need to address, which I'm going to guess will be something we still need to address. We could make a play for him. It's not nothing is out of the there's no chance until he's signed with someone else. So, and I think the closer we get to that, maybe mid-May, end of May, teams are going to realize that they're desperate and they need that, and so you're going to start to see maybe something happening before that June date comes where you lose the draft pick. But if you've waited this long, I can't imagine any team giving up that draft pick now. So I think we got just as much of a chance. So, but let's get into some buy or sell. Country House, Phil's favorite horse in horse racing, wins the Kentucky Derby after Maximum Security was disqualified for not staying in his lane. This is the first time in 145 years of the Kentucky Derby that it's ended in a disqualification. Derek, buy or sell watching the Kentucky Derby?
I'm going to have to sell unless I'm there actually betting on the horses, but I'm not going to sit here and watch that on my television. I'm sorry. It's a no for me. I know Phil does all the time, every year.
How far are you away from Louisville? You got to be close.
About 3 hours.
Let me tell you something. I'll let you answer this in a second, Phil, but that's something that you at least need to go to, like the museum and stuff. It is. I'm not a horse racing guy, and the museum was awesome for the Kentucky Derby, but going to a horse race live is actually pretty fun too. My wife and I went there went about 2 or 3 years ago, and for a work trip, and we bet like 10 times and lost every single time betting on a horse. But it's so fun rooting for something that you would have zero interest in, but because you got money on the line, you're like, yeah, go dumb name horse, yeah, But buy or sell watching the Kentucky Derby, Phil?
Yeah, no, I think one year I was home bored and I was just trying to wait. It was just so much build up. Bam, race over. I was like, okay.
So was that a buy or sell?
Oh, definitely sell.
Oh, yeah, I'm selling. I mean, it's all right. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, it's to me, it's like the Daytona 500. Everybody knows what it is, and everybody knows, like when it's that week. But I'll tell you what, the main company for that I work with is based out of Louisville, and they think that Kentucky Derby week is like the greatest thing ever. They have like this huge celebration, and everybody goes. They take time off from work and go to like the pre-races of the younger horses and stuff like that. It is crazy. They love it up there. It's like, everybody dresses up. They go in like these suits and fancy dresses and stuff. It is crazy. So, but yeah, it's 100% sell for me. I could care less. But LeBron James today, he said he was stunned by Magic Johnson's exit with the Lakers. Buy or sell LeBron James actually being stunned by this news, Phil?
Nah, he just wanted to put the name out of the headlines a little bit.
Buy or sell, Derek?
I'm gonna buy. I mean, I'm gonna buy it because Magic didn't talk to anyone. From what he said, now is that fully true? I don't know, but I don't know any other evidence of anything else. So I mean, it's possible. So I guess I'll go ahead and buy it.
Sell. He's the freaking general manager of the team. How does he not know that the president's not going to quit? I am not buying it. LeBron James knows exactly every single thing that's going on every single team he's ever been in. You know, I just have a hard time believing. You know, even part of me wants to think that he was making a power move to get Magic out of there anyways. Magic probably heard something about it, and then he's like, well, you know what? Instead of being embarrassed, I'm just going to quit on my own accord and still be embarrassed. But, you know, yeah, I don't buy anytime LeBron says that he's stunned by something or he doesn't know, or trust me, he knows everything that goes on with that team. So they didn't get him to in LA to just, you know, go in the background and not know anything. So yeah, I'm 100% selling that one. So with the local one, we'll end with this. Writer Jeff Passan, this actually came out last week, said in an article that he thinks Ronald Acuna is already the best player in the game currently. Derek, buy or sell the statement?
I'm about to sell. It's too early, of course. Now, can he be? Yes, obviously. I mean, all that potential he has, and I mean the talent that he's shown right off the jump. I mean, there's been really no drop off, and he was great from the beginning. But being the best player in the league takes a lot, and I don't think you can say that after a 1.5 year.
Buy or sell, Phil?
I gotta sell that. Pump the brakes just a little bit. I think he can get there. I think he will get there. But let's relax a little bit. Let him grow.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
62.
Yeah, I'm trifecting this one. It's a sell for me. I love me some Ronald Acuna, but there's a little guy named Mike Trout that has not let off the throne of being the best player in baseball, and he's having another incredible year. So, yeah, like you said, can he get there? Of course he can get there. I mean, he's got unreal talent. I mean, you know, but you know, there's a lot of young guys coming in. We've seen some of the best young talent coming up in the last month. I mean, with Vlad Guerrero Jr. entering the mix, Fernando Tatis Jr., guys that just can rake the ball just as much as Ronald Acuna. So, yeah, I mean, it's just too early for that. But hey, you know, it's always nice when someone thinks that he is the best player in the game, you know, especially Passan, who isn't a local writer. So, you know, hyping up a guy out of market. So that's always nice that someone, you know, respects his game enough that's out of market to consider him to be the best player in the game currently. So, but yeah, let's do some shout outs. Phil, what you got, man?
Yeah, shout out everybody listening, everybody supporting, you know, everybody who's doing stuff on the site. Come right for us.
Who you shouting out, Derek?
Yeah, shout out everybody that came back and listened after our little break. I mean, we had a few things, but all of us, the normal stuff. Appreciate y'all coming back and listening.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat. I don't have YouTube pulled up, slows me down for some reason. So, but shout out to you guys hanging out in the chat with us. And like I said, like Derek said, for everybody that came back after a little hiatus, I guess. But you know, we're back on it again. We're definitely excited to all get back together and do a show for you guys again tonight. And then so we'll definitely be back. Probably Sunday. Sunday we kind of decided is our best day for us to do it. I think Phil will be out of the picture next Sunday. Will you not, Phil?
Yeah, man. I'll
Next Sunday's Mother's Day, if y'all forgot. So
I don't have a mother. I'm kidding.
If that affects anything for y'all, I know I'll be good.
Well, we'll figure out something, and we'll always give you a heads up like we do.
Cowboy Brett. You get Cowboy Brett probably.
But thanks for listening to the ATL Sports HQ Live podcast, and we will see y'all next week.